How's it going, everybody? PK Investing here. This is the 8th video in my QYLD series, where we discuss the income ETF and attempt to find answers to common questions investors might have. A very common question I keep getting in the comments of my other QYLD videos is whether or not QYLD is something that someone should buy. The answer is a bit more complicated than a simple yes or no. So in this video, we'll go over various investing scenarios to truly determine what kind of investor should be buying QYLD. Without further ado, let's get into it. To start things off, let's briefly review what QYLD is. If you want an in-depth review of QYLD and what it is and how it works, I recommend you check out my QYLD playlist. I'll link to it down below. But the short version is that QYLD is a high-yielding, monthly paying ETF that generates income through selling covered calls on the Nasdaq 100 index. But the important thing to note is that the monthly distribution is currently taxed as mostly, if not entirely, return of capital, meaning you pay zero taxes on most, if not all, of the distribution while experiencing a decrease in your individual cost basis. If that doesn't seem entirely clear, I recommend watching my video titled, How is QYLD Taxed? But now that we've established what QYLD is and the type of income that it generates, we can try to find what kind of investor would be interested in it. On the surface, it seems like a good thing for all investors. Every month, you get about a 1% distribution that you don't have to pay taxes on. What's not to like? Unfortunately, if things sound too good to be true, then they are. The main drawback to QYLD is that it has zero capital appreciation by design. In a sense, we should be treating QYLD less as a genuine investment and more as an extremely high-yielding savings account with somewhat more risk than a regular high-yielding savings account. So a better question to ask is whether or not an extremely high-yielding savings account tied to the Nasdaq 100 is right for you. Let's explore our options by taking into account different types of investors. We can say that the first type of investor is the older, retired investor. This investor has worked his or her whole life, put aside some money, and is living in retirement. Their income might be coming from a pension, a retirement account, Social Security, or any combination of those. They might also have a large sum of money in the bank that they're looking to invest in order to supplement their income. For this person, QYLD might be a good choice. Of course, they can invest in something like Microsoft if they want to experience capital appreciation and dividend growth, but chances are it's going to take a decade or two for their return to be substantial. And the average retired investor is going to be older than 60, so waiting another 20 years to make some cash might not be an option. However, investing that lump sum into QYLD and generating 1% on their investment each month in tangible cash seems like a worthwhile option. Now, let's take a look at another kind of investor. This one we'll say is a younger person, maybe in their 20s or 30s. This younger investor has a significantly longer investing time horizon than the older retired investor. However, he or she might not have nearly enough cash as their older counterpart. Additionally, a younger investor might not be as pressed for cash flow, since chances are they'll be working a full-time job and getting paid on a regular basis. For this investor, it might be enticing to invest in QYLD because of the high yield and the monthly distribution. In the short term, it would be fine. But in the long term, investing their money in individual stocks or broad market index funds would most likely result in significantly higher returns. We have to remember that QYLD just goes sideways and spits out cash. But Microsoft, for example, will hopefully continue increasing in value and growing their dividend for the next 100 years and more. So for this investor, QYLD could work, but it just wouldn't be the best option available to them. These are two extreme examples, and I know that every investor is unique. That's why I want to present a third option, one that I personally use. I treat QYLD as a reserve for my reserve. I've got my emergency fund, and I've got my savings and checking accounts, and I've got my investments. But I also have extra cash that doesn't really fit into the style of any of those places. I don't want that cash sitting in the bank because it'll just end up losing value due to inflation. And I don't really want to lump sum invest at all because I'm unsure of the current valuation of the market. So I've opted to dump it all in QYLD. Every month I get a nice bit of cash, and I usually divide that cash up between my normal investments, my $1 a day in Tesla, and more QYLD. So I've sort of chosen a moderate approach when it comes to QYLD. Now I'd like to actually show you my QYLD position. I currently have 554 shares of QYLD, and that generates roughly $124 each month. For the past few months, QYLD's distribution had been around 19 cents, so it was nice seeing them bump it up to 22 cents for this month. I hope this video answered some of your questions. If there's something you'd like me to address, or if there's something else about QYLD you want to know, please leave a comment below. I love interacting with people in the comments, and I appreciate each and every one of you for watching until the very end. If you haven't already, consider giving this video a thumbs up, subscribing if you haven't yet, and sharing this video with a friend. Take care, and I hope to speak with you again real soon. I am not a financial advisor. Investing always involves risk. This video was created for entertainment purposes only.